Magandang araw po sa kanila lahat. Ako po si Robbie Alampay, Puma-podcast. Welcome to another episode of Teka Teka. At ngayon po ang kausap natin to talk about, well, politics pa rin, but we're also talking about the opposition, the administration, and how a lot of us can't understand anymore sino ba ang administration, sino ba ang opposition, ilan ba ang opposition, and above all, how do we navigate this as voters and as citizens. Kasama po natin former Senator Antonio Sani Trillanes, and beyond that, Senator, welcome. And beyond that, I really don't know how else to introduce you. Former mayor ba? Or future mayor ba?
Well, ganito, no? Ano pa yan? Lahat po yan up in the air. But anyway, thank you kasamang Robbie for inviting me dito sa inyong show.
Okay. Anyway, diretso na po tayo dito. Parang siguro inevitable naman na pinag-uusapan ng election 2025. Pero in the last days and in the last weeks, medyo uminit ng konti kasi nagulantang yung mga tao sa sinabi ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Bago niya pa sinabi, no, nawala na siya nagbitaw siya sa kabinete ni President Marcos. Mukhang nabuwag na talagang tuluyan ang unity team na tinatawag. And then, kasunod nun, sinabi niya, tatakbo kami lahat, Senator, lahat ng mga Duterte, all in na kami sa Senate. Siguro first question to you, sir. Yung sinabi ni Sara Duterte after that, at saka mga kaalyado niya, na eto na, what this means is that Sara Duterte is now the opposition. Valid ba yun?
Well, tinitignan natin siya on so many levels, no? Kasi unang-una, we take it as it is. Ano ba ito yung mensahe na ito? Pag titignan natin, dun sa side ng communications plan nila. So una, pwede ito kasing sinisimula nila na mas maaga yung political season para sa ganon, anything that would come after, whether ICC man yan or mga iba't ibang mga kaso, mga ibang mga issue, sasabihin nila, ano yan, politically connected kasi tatakbo sila sa politika. So isa yon. Tapos titignan din natin siya at dun sa level ng pag-float ng mga prospective candidacies or potential candidacies nung tatlo nga, no? Yung ama at saka yung dalawang kapatid. Kasi pag flinote nila, di ngayon masasama sila sa makikita sa surveys kung how it will register, how the public will accept them. Pagka pumasok sila, hypothetically, dun sa top 12, dun sa mga surveys, palagay ko, it will factor in dun sa kanilang decision making later on. So, trial balloon yan. Di ba? Tapos, ito yun, at the same time, titignan natin dun sa konteksto ng political survival ng mga Dutertes. This is it for them. For them, 2025 is a make or break election year for the Dutertes. Kasi kung ma-obliterate sila dito, yun na yun. Wala na yung 2028 dreams nila. Kaya doon natin titignan yon. Ngayon, doon sa mga mag-strategize, on the other side, no, whether it's the legitimate opposition side or the Marcos administration side, kailangan tignan ito as part of the scenarios. The worst thing that anybody can do right now as an analyst or as a strategist is to disregard yung scenario na yan. Maaring ito, di ba, a few days ago, sinabi ni Digong, huwag kayo maniwala dyan, hindi totoo yan. Kasi ever since ganun yung style nila, tatakbo, hindi tatakbo, di ba? Ganun yung style nila. Para meron silang claim on both sides. Pero nagawa na nila yung kailangan nilang gawin, which is to float that scenario. So kailangan on the strategies to consider that proposition na tatakbo silang tatlo. At kasi yun yung worst case scenario. Kung hindi sila tatakbo, na tatlo, isa lang, o dalawa lang, or walang tatakbo, better scenarios yon than nung tatlo sila natatakbo. Kaya,
Hmm.
kailangan dun sa scenario building, consider dyan, ano ang magiging itsura. Kaya,
Hmm.
the next few months would be very interesting because of that proposition raised by Sara Duterte.
Hmm. And one thing that has happened since then, and a lot of people have said is, pareho naman ang punto nyo. This is an attempt for the Dutertes to first seize the narrative, di ba? Parang ibalandra nila yung pangalan nila dyan, force the issue that this is about us. Are you with us or are you against us? Not just as voters, but also among the political constituencies across the country, no? Pero marami rin kami nakausap na ang pangamba nila, isn't that forcing a conversation? As if para bang, yun na nga, uniteam sila dati, pagkatapos ngayon ang pipilian lang namin, maka-Marcos ka ba? Are you for Marcos or are you for the Dutertes? That kind of a framing, is that a fair concern among people na para bang yun na lang ang pinag-uusapan? Nandiyan naman si Risa Ontiveros, nandiyan naman yung gaya nga ng sabi nyo, the legitimate opposition is still there. Not just Risa Ontiveros, yung people who sabihin na natin who were on the side of the pinks, on the side of the yellows, the Liberal Party, the Makabayan Bloc. And these were the things that people would qualify as, yan, mas legitimate opposition sa akin yan. But dun sa inumpisahan lang natin, isn't that a bit forcing the narrative or at least giving into the narrative that this is about the Marcoses and the Dutertes alone?
It is what it is. Kahit ayaw natin na madala dun sa narrative na yun na it's the Marcos slate against the Duterte slate. Pero dito natin makikita na talagang they command a bigger voice, no? Yung si Senator Risa kasi, hindi siya tatakbo. She is making her presence felt dito sa iba't ibang mga issue na sinusundan ng mga kababayan natin. But unfortunately, hindi naman siya tatakbo. At ngayon, pag tatanungin mo, ano ba yung magiging independent slate, no? If there is such a thing. As it is, tatlo yung kakandidato. Si Senator Kiko, Senator Bam, at si Atty. Chel Diokno. Yan yon. Ngayon dito sa banggaan itong dalawang mabibigat, kasi nga sila yung nagko-command ng bigger attention, sila yung nag-control ng narrative. Kaya ang nangyari, nasi-squeeze out sa attention ng electorate yung independent slate. Kaya whether we like it or not, that is the situation.
And to that point nga, nalilito na rin yung mga tao, di ba? Hindi lang, kasi siguro one thing na inevitable is people want a neat categorization, di ba? Admin ka ba, pro-admin ka ba, opposition ka ba? On the other hand, hindi rin nila maiwasan ngayon yung pinaglalaban ni Sara Duterte na hindi. Anti-Marcos na ako ngayon. Di obviously, opposition ako. I don't think there's any way around that proposition. But doon sa independent opposition, people are also now confused. I'll take you as an example. For example, I don't think it's been clear to people that you are anti-Duterte. Malinaw na malinaw yun. I don't think people will necessarily categorize you as anti-Marcos. Diba? And to that point, in fact, last week, ang sinabi nyo, siguro dapat magsanib lahat ng puwersa na hindi maka-Duterte. And that would include the administration now and the independent opposition, the legitimate opposition, however you want to call it, because the highest agenda for you is let's stop the Dutertes from returning to power. So I'll bring all of that to one question, di ba? Parang for the voters, ano ba yung framing ng mga tao dapat ngayon, di ba? Parang sinong opposition, and siguro equally important, how do we define it? Or is it even important to categorize people at this point?
At this point kasi, Robbie, may alignment pa na nangyayari. posturing, alignment, floating. October pa, fully natin makikita yung mga lines, no? Pero sa amin, ako personally at sa aming grupo sa Magdalos, it's always about the national interest. Asan ba rito ang ikabubuti ng bansa, 'di ba? Yung ang kagandahan kasi doon sa ganung perspective, hindi ka gaanong matatali sa mga sensitivities, tsaka kung ano man yung mga preconceived biases. Kasi kung saan yung national interest, dapat yun ang nangingibabaw sa lahat. Of course, that's relative, ano? Pero in this case, ang definition namin ng national interest within the context nitong mga political skirmishes is na hindi makabalik sa poder yung mga Dutertes, di ba? Bakit? Kasi nakita natin paano nila giniba yung bansa at ang ating demokrasya. And I don't think our country, our democracy will be able to survive, even our economy, no, will be able to survive another Duterte administration. And that is very important sa amin, no? More than anything else, of course, yung past, yung mga historical antecedents o kung ano man, ano yan, kumbaga, importante yan. But yung national interest, paramount concern yan. In fact, existential, no, for our democracy. So, yun yung aming tinututukan. So, given that as a background, ano ngayon? Di dapat, di ba, kung importante sa mga Duterte, itong 2025 elections at makabalik sa poder, kung mawalop sila ngayon, di tapos na. We would be looking at a brighter future by 2028. Di ba? So, yun ang mas importante sa atin dapat. Hindi yung tactical battles, yung sensitivities ko kasi ma-pride ako or iba yung hindi ko masikmura ito ko ang sino man. Pero, at the expense of the future na makakabalik sa pwesto yung mga Dutertes. Di ba?
Okay. So, Senator, quick question lang. So when you say na ang sa amin, 'di ba? When you say na ang sa amin, kami kasi ganito ang thinking namin. National interest, ask yourself what is the national interest, what is the highest interest of the country, and that will allow us to rise above the politics, 'di ba? But basic question muna, when you say ang sa amin at kami, sino kayo? Because it goes to that question, 'di ba? Parang because kamakailan, after you floated this idea na, look, the number one national interest at this point, and I think I heard you clearly, we have to stop the Dutertes from coming back first because ang laking existential threat, as sinabi nyo, sa ating demokrasya, sa ating human rights, and so on. Yun ang panawagan nyo. Pero ang tanong ko ay, sinong kami? Kasi certainly, Senator Risa Ontiveros said na naiintindihan ko kung saan nanggagaling si Sonny Trillanes. Tinawag niya kayong kaalyado. She acknowledged your past, let's put it that way, as a fellow opposition. But she also said na, mahalaga rin sa akin yung history. Mahalaga rin sa akin yung mga kailangan pagbayaran ng mga Marcos. Mahalaga rin sa akin yung human rights violations nila. Mahalaga rin sa akin yung mga buwis na ayaw nilang bayaran. Yung mga pandrambong ng mag-ama na nadawit ang mga anak, mahalaga rin sa kanila yun. So, not to get into each and every one of those, but just that it just goes to that basic question. So when you say na ito sa atin ang highest priority right now, sinong kami?
Like I mentioned earlier, ako ang aming grupo na Magdalo, who is part of the independent opposition. Hindi namin sinasabing ito na ang direksyon namin, hindi. Flea note ko yon at pinag-usapan namin ni Senator Risa. Ganon naman yon sa isang alyansa. May mga positioning at dinidebate yon, dinideliberate yon. And hopefully, you'll find common ground, no? Yun yung ano namin, hindi na yung tipong my way or the highway. Kasi nga, collaborative effort ito eh. This will be a collective effort. Ngayon, sinasabi ko nga kanina, importante yon yung mga yung historical background nito, historical context nito, mahalaga yan. At kung ano pa, no? Pero gusto ko rin linawin, yung the father, Ferdinand Marcos Sr., should be treated differently from the present, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Okay, pareho silang pamilya, no? Pero if you're talking about the acts, yung sinasabing human rights violations, parehas bang ginawa ng tatay at saka ng anak? Hindi, di ba? Kung ano man yung sinasabi nilang pagpa-plunder ng bansa, gano'n, yung anak ba yung gumawa o yung tatay? Kumaga, kailangan natin inuwans yun. Kasi ganito yan. Itong presidenteng nakaupo, the son, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., ito, may bagong mandato ito. Totoo na patalsik noong 1986 yung tatay. Pero kung ano man ang nangyari, itong 2022, nilabas ng mga pink, nilabas namin lahat yon. Ito yung nakaraan, ganito yung sitwasyon. Hindi tayo nagkulang sa pagsabi sa mamamayan na kung ano yung Marcos legacy before. And yet they still voted for him. Di ba? Parang given yan, but ito yung sa amin. Ngayon, kung tayo naniniwala talaga tayo sa demokrasya, we have to respect that mandate. Titignan natin ngayon in a different light, itong si President Marcos Jr. should be given a clean slate. Tignan natin. Ngayon, kung at 2 years in, parehas yung ginagawa nila ng father, ibang usapan yun. Pero it's obviously not the case. Di ba? O tapos, ipatong mo pa dyan yung complexities na itong existential threat ng Dutertes backed up by China. Dapat mabibigyan mo ng primacy itong present existential threat over the past issues. Sinasabi ko, importante yun. Hindi natin dinidisregard yun. Pero di ba, napatalsik niya na eh. Napatalsik na. Noong 1986, meron na tayong batas ng reparation. Nakaukit na yan sa kasaysayan natin. Di ba? Panalo na sila. Papanalo na sila before nung napatalsik yung mga Marcoses at kung ano-ano pa. Pero the point is, noong 2022, nanalo naman si Ferdinand Marcos Jr. That should mean something. Kung talagang naniniwala tayo sa demokrasya, that should say something also. Ngayon, if we are posturing as servants of the people, then kasama yung mga bumoto ni President Marcos Jr. In fact, mas marami sila. Ganon. Okay. Yun po yan.
Okay. Senator, I think I know what you're saying. Malinaw naman po yung sinasabi nyo. Again, Senator Risa and other of the independent opposition, they do have other quibbles and other concerns, not just quibbles. Kasama na doon yung gaya nga ng sabi, sila yung heredero, sila may hawak nung na sinabing nakulimbat na kayamanan, silang may hawak. And they are responsible for that. There are remaining questions about returning the money. And they are complicit, therefore, in what happens to that money. But I don't want to delve deeper into that. I think you've made your point. Ang concern ko is still about the opposition, and I'm still, in recent days we've been talking to other people, and one of the things that I found myself saying again and again is we have to care about what happens to the Dutertes and kung ano yung positioning ni Sara dito at saka ng pamilya and yung ingay na ginagawa nila because as I said, ayaw niyo silang tanggapin na opposition. Pero kung hindi silang opposition, sinong opposition nyo? Diba? And my second question is, anong ginagawa ng opposition yan? Diba? Kung sino man ang pato mo na yan ang opposition. Now, naintriga ako sa sinabi nyo. Despite your differences and despite, at this point, Senator Risa Ontiveros keeping an arm's length on your proposal for a unity ticket, not uniteam, no? but a unity ticket between PBBM and the Pinks. I know a lot of people will react to that very notion, as I'm sure you anticipated also. Pero yun yung tanong, anong ginagawa ng opposition na legitimate sa mga mata nyo? Naintriga tuloy ako sa sinabi nyo. Sinabi nyo na, yes, we have differences. That's part and parcel of political negotiations and maneuvering. But you said, yan ang silbi ng alliance, sabi nyo. No? So yun yung tanong ko. Buo pa ba yung alliance? Or are you in effect acting in behalf, independently, if not in fact really initiating this bridging coming from the other side, coming from the administration, whether the answer is yes or no, that question, di ba? Meron pa bang tinatawag ngayon na alliance, at least from what we could recognize from the 2022 elections?
Well, yes. In fact, magkausap nga kami kahapon ni Senator Risa para ma-flesh out namin itong proposal. Ngayon, sabi ko nga, ganun yun. Merong proposal na ganito, then all the other partners would chime in, kumaga kung anong pananaw nila. Tapos kung may common ground, din yun. Pero kung yung mag-aantay lang tayo at ma-obliterate ka ng ingay nung Duterte camp at nung Marcos camp, edi it will be detrimental to your interest. And mind you, I floated that idea not as an interested party, no, or party of interest, because I won't be running for the Senate, no? Yan ang naging desisyon ng aming grupo. Kaya ito ay tulong ito dun sa magiging kandidato namin. 'Di ba? Kasi ganun yung situation. Kung kulang yung Marcos administration ng mga winnable candidates, edi pwedeng pumasok itong at least dalawang kandidato ng independent opposition para masara nila yung 12. Kasi kahit na anong baba ng mga kandidato sa Duterte camp, kung walang mag-overtake sa kanila doon sa 12-man race, mananalo pa rin sila. So, ganun yung proposition. Wala naman akong sinasabing kailangan pagka nangyari ito, pag na-adapt sila, let's say si Kiko, Senator Bam sa slate, sasambahin na natin yung Marcos administration at every turn, hindi na kayo i-elect, tapos yung forgive and forget na yung nakaraan. Wala akong sinasabing gano'n. Ang sinasabi ko yung dalawang kandidato na ma-adapt sila. Gano'n lang naman kasimple. Kaya, kaso, it triggered, yun nga, sensitivities na minsan nakakalimutan nga or hindi pa sila aware dun sa existential threat. And that's part of the things that I'm floating about whenever I make that proposition.
When we say the sensitivities, we're referring to politicians, the political sensitivities, ideological sensitivities. But there are also proxies for their constituents. There are also proxies for the Filipino people as much as they would like to offer themselves, di ba? Parang lahat naman yata ng politiko ganun din mag-isip. That's the most good faith we can give it, that they all want to believe that, pinaglalaban ko yung mga pinaglalaban ng mga Pilipino. So I want to take it there just as our final point of this conversation. You've been talking about, look, tanggap ko na may sensitivities, tanggap ko na may pagkakaiba. Ganyan din talaga mag-isip ang mga politiko. Pero what about the sensitivities of people? The sensitivities of people who will react to this whole narrative na, ganon, ang pagpipilihan ko lang yung administrasyon or yung Dutertes. They may or may not agree that it is an existential threat, or they may even frame it as ganon, namimili na lang ako between the lesser of good evils. I'm not saying that's how everybody thinks, but those people who will think ganon, we're down to choosing the lesser of two evils. You've talked about the mindset of politicians, and you've talked about what should be the mindset of an opposition na sa totoo lang needs to get its legs back under them. you need to you about to be in a position that needs to be more pragmatic, di ba? But if you could take away, lahat ng kalaban nyo, di ba? Lahat ng even lahat ng pinaglalaban nyo, just as a statesman, as somebody who can talk to our people as voters, anong dapat mindset ng mga botante? Because time and again, maraming mga voters na ang feeling nila is para bang pakonti ng pakonti yung pagpipilian ko, parang I'm being backed into a corner every time may election.
Ganito po, di ba sinasabi nga, the only way for evil to prevail is when good people
For good men to do nothing.
do nothing. Kaya yan lang pinagpipilian. Kasi yung mga good men na sinasabi, hindi naman sila tumatakbo. Di ba? O ngayon, ito naman yon. Well, I'm not saying na walang good people na tumatakbo dyan sa ngayon, sa 2025. Kung ang tanong nyo, kung ano magiging mindset nila, well, ang mindset dito is piliin nyo pa rin yung mabubuting kandidato. Regardless of their party. Di ba? Whether independent sila o na-adopt sila ng administration ticket. Kasi ganito yan. It doesn't mean na ma-adopt si Senator Kiko, si Senator Bam ng admin ticket, evil sila. No. Then meron ding mga kandidato, marami ding kandidato sa admin ticket na kumbaga decent public servants, di ba? Kumbaga wag yung ano dating dito ang isa kong gustong mawala doon sa botante natin is yung purist. Yung parang kailangan anghel or santo yung pipiliin kasi wala naman sila diyan And hindi naman 'yon ang kumbaga ang tawag nito, yung kanilang aptitude. Wala silang aptitude for public service. Normally yung mga ganung klaseng tao nasa mga NGOs 'yon or nasa sa church. Kumbaga ganun 'yon. Dito you will be picking or choosing from imperfect people. Pero sana yung least imperfect, yung mabubuti yung nasa saloobin, hindi yun ang pipiliin. Yun naman yun, para ma-simplify. Kasi hindi naman maliwanag yung ideological divide natin. Kagaya sa US na Republicans, Democrats, they represent something, a cause, an idea. Pero dito hindi. Kaya yun ang mapapayo natin sa kanila.
Okay. Senator, isa na lang huling tanong. And we have to say this, no? Nabanggit nyo si Kiko, nabanggit nyo si Bam. Let's make it clear. You're not speaking for them. You're not saying na malinaw na ito na yung scenario na magkakaroon ng ticket. I think that's clear that this was a scenario, something to illustrate to your point. But I do sense from what you're saying na para bang it's almost as if you're trying to negotiate for some room for politicians on either side to be more pragmatic, to allow them to have some pragmatic options moving forward. Tama ba yung pagkakaintindi ko doon, yung pagkakatanggap ko, that kasama sa mensahe nyo, huwag nyong asahang santo lahat yan kasi walang santo dyan. Na para bang may panawagan din kayo na intindihin nyo pagka meron dyang ika nga, the way people will say it, sabihin ko na, kung meron dyang mukhang bumalimbing, kung meron dyang mukhang namamangka sa dalawang ilog, kung meron dyang mukhang naninigurado, or kung meron dyang parang nag-sell out o ano, I think my sense from what you're saying when you appeal to people na don't expect saints is, given our political realities, don't also expect that people will not be crossing lines here. And it may be something that people just have to brace for.
Yeah. So, ganun po yun. No? Ito po, tama po kayo. Wala naman, I'm not speaking for the candidates or anybody. Pero, itong mensahe ko is not for the politicians because, to be honest, I've spoken to some of the people involved at basta nakausap ko yan sila bago natin flinote ito. Pero yung ano to, from the pink side, meron kasing yung nakikita yung wisdom of this move. Marami yung nagpo-push back, yung purist na tinatawag ko, ano to, minority. Kaso sila yung mas expressive. Sila yung may parang may cancel culture, gano'n. Kasi nga, siyempre, itong parang mahirap naman tanggapin yung itong proposition na to and openly admit it. Kasi parang, alam mo yun, you're opening yourself up for criticism. Kung ako, okay lang yun because I'm floating. Pero nakita namin doon sa responses, di hamak na mas maraming open for a critical collaboration or a tactical collaboration for 2025 purposes than yung mga ayaw. Okay? Yung mga ayaw. But gusto pa rin natin na anuhin yung mga purists na tipong hindi naman kayo mawawalan ng spasyo kasi assuming lang hypothetically, ma-adapt si Sen Kiko, si Sen Bam, pwede namang sila lang yung iboto nyo. Kung hindi talaga but kung kakancelin nyo yung sila even, tapos kunyari hindi na kayo bumoto all together, sabihin nyo talagang hindi nyo kaya, who loses? Di ba? You lose by default because at the end of the day, the other people will vote and 12 candidates will win. Di ba? Ngayon, anong kalidad ng 12 na yun kung hindi ka nag-participate? Kung yung sinasabi mong intellectual vote mo hindi mo ibinigay, sino makikinabang noon? Kumaga, yun lang naman yun. Pero yung sinasabi, natin kanina, na hindi natin sinasabing puro masasamang tao yung kandidato. Pero kung yung sinasabi na nila na, pagka nadampian ka ng ganito, ng Marcos administration, masama ka na. Pero ganito yan. Kaya nga sinight ko doon yung kay VP Leni. Remember nung in-offer ni Duterte yung drug czar kay VP Leni, I think during the 4th year of his term, alam na natin, nakarumal-dumal yung ginagawa ni Duterte. He is already the worst president in history, murderous regime. Pero nung tinanggap niya yung pagka-drug czar, nag-collaborate siya. She worked with the evil regime of the Dutertes. So what did these purists say? Ano ba sila? Kinancel ba nila si VP Leni? Hindi. Hindi nila kinancel. Why? Inintindi nila kasi it's for the greater good. Di ba? Yun naman ang sinasabi ko. Kung kaya mong ng intellectual calisthenics na tanggapin yon at manuwans mo yon na pwedeng tanggapin yon, bakit hindi mo ngayon ito pwede matanggap? Ba't hindi ito katanggap-tanggap? Di hamak naman na mas maayos yung Marcos administration ngayon kaysa dun sa Duterte regime na kung saan tinanggap ni VP Leni yung pagiging drug czar.
Okay.
Di ba?
Pero Senator Sani, then maybe this goes into the pragmatics of politics. Pero sabi nga rin ni Senator Risa Ontiveros, part of why she's saying na teka muna, preno muna ako, hindi ako sold dyan. And more than that, she expressed all her concerns about it. We've already gone through that. But she also said, hindi naman to outright din pag-reject. What we're saying is, teka muna, maghahain din kami ng sarili naming programa. Maghahain din kami ng sarili naming alyansa. Why don't you give us a chance to offer our own path so that it's not down to choosing between supporting the Marcoses all the way to 2028 or choosing the Dutertes. What is so wrong with people who say na, teka muna, umaasa pa rin ako sa tinatawag kong independent opposition, and what is not so pragmatic about that?
Ano yun? No? Kasama yun sa mga pinag-usapan namin kahapon. And ganun nga, may proposition kami, may proposition sila, ganun lang yun. Andito pa tayo sa proseso na yun na kinakamada pa kung ano yung magiging final output. Ngayon, this is an exchange of ideas. Pero nakikita natin, pagka nga nagfo-float ka ng idea, tinitignan mo kung gaano kalalim yung pushback, at kung hindi, kung meron man. Ngayon yung kay Senator Risa, ganito. At the end of the day, hindi naman siya tatakbo, di ba? And she will remain as independent opposition regardless of whether Senator Kiko or Senator Bam will be adopted. Di ba? Tuloy lang. Ngayon, if she will feel, if the alliance, the independent opposition alliance would fill a slate, tutuloy pa rin naman yun eh. Regardless kung ma-adapt yung dalawa. Di ba? Yun lang naman yung magiging itsura nun. Tapos, at the end, when the smoke clears in 2025, si Senator Risa will still be the leader of the legitimate opposition. Then, kung magawa yung kailangan gawin, by then, it's going to be an easier path for our country. Yun po yan.
Okay. Former Senator Antonio Sani Trillanes. Sir, maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat kasamang Robbie at sa iyong mga viewers.
At saka sa lahat po ng sumama sa atin at nakinig sa atin, maraming salamat din po. Ako po si Robbie Alampay, Puma-Podcast. If you like what we've been discussing and if you like how we carry on our conversations dito sa Teka Teka, please like, subscribe, and pakishare po ito sa mga kaibigan nyo na baka nagtatanong din at nag-aaral din sa mga issue na gusto natin pag-usapan dito. Ako po si Robbie Alampay, Puma-Podcast. Maraming salamat po.